All right, I'm going to go to the 49ers. That's one of my favorite teams here. They weren't supposed to pick until the 99th pick in the third round. And they traded up, unless I misremember. Yeah, they traded for Jair Brown, the safety out of Penn State. And then they got our guy Cameron Latu out of Alabama. We saw him at his pro day. Before that, they actually traded for Jake Moody, the kicker, which put Pete over the edge. And look, Robbie Gould is my age. He's entering his AARP years.
Did they re-sign him, or was he off their roster?
I'm not even sure, but I know if he's not 40, he's incredibly close to 40.
Yeah. My updated roster was Moody and Zane Gonzalez, the trade from Carolina. Not that I'm a kicking expert. And but that I drafted did well on is we cut. So don't rely on my expertise in the kicking area.
And as you noted over the weekend, go ahead, Debo.
I was just going to say, Gould addressed earlier in the offseason that he didn't plan on being back with the 49ers, and he is 40 years old.
Okay, there we go. And Rick noted during the draft on day 3 that Daniel Carlson's brother, Anders, got drafted over the weekend too, so not by the Vikings. So let me ask you this, because I've asked a couple of scouts about this, and there typically doesn't seem to be a consensus about how you grade out these kickers. I'm just curious. Who decided that Jake Moody's worth taking so high? Like, do you have an expert that comes in, or are you just going on gut feel?
What we used to rely on is a special teams coach. And
okay.
None of us are. It's like if you're going to work on your golf swing, okay, go get a golf swing coach. So we relied on the expertise of the special teams coaches, and they would go out and work these guys out individually all over the country and come back with a list for me. We can have all their times and stuff. Did some analytic work on them, but usually I relied on special teams coaches to whether they wanted the player or not, and then the decision was, where do you take this player? So This was curious, and the only reason I'm going to disagree with you, since this is your like draft, Jair Brown, I can understand maybe not as athletic, but trying to replace Jimmy Ward,
right?
But there are a couple of guys. I think Brandon Willis was one of my guys that I liked. So they got a couple of depth guys. But what really bothered me was their offensive tackle hole, because they did not sign McGlinchey back. He ended up going to sign with Denver.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look, here were the offensive tackles on the board, even after Jair Brown. So they had a chance to take Blake Freeman. They had a chance for DeJuan Jones, who's a right tackle. Carter Warren, but you were a bigger fan on him than I was. And even when they were on the board or moved up to get Jair Brown, a guy that I kind of liked in this area was Wani Morris, the right tackle from Oklahoma, who I think has tremendous upside. So I didn't understand why. And even after they took Jair Brown, they had these offensive tackles on the draft board still, and then they went after the kicker, which I think you could have got later.
No, that's a fair point. You mentioned Braden Willis. I'm just going to make you cringe. My comp for him during the fall was Kyle Juszczyk. So I like the idea of him going to San Francisco, where he'll probably be best utilized, instead of going to some team that may not have ideas of how best to use tight end / H-back / wherever they're going to end up putting him. Robert Beals, an edge rush. I like him. Darrell Luter. We thought he was a little too stiff at the Senior Bowl. Latu is okay. He's not great, but I thought they were able to get value in there. I like Jalen Graham, their final pick, a lot out of Purdue. Ronnie Bell has a little upside as a possession receiver. He's coming off that ACL from a few years ago. I think you and I agree D. Winters didn't play nearly as spectacular over the course of his season as he did the final 2 games. I know Pete liked him better than we did. But I think in terms of the value they were able to get day 3 is what had me putting them on this list.